Like real bars. Like
he's an idiot. Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
the maddest thing for you. Like,
Yeah,
I want to know,
idiot.
is it true that you're like, but I don't like the shoot?
Get him on this pod. See how many words you get out of him.
Oh, okay. Say no.
So
I'm gonna get him on. Right, Chris.
But I promise you now. I would bet you any money you don't get him on it.
I take all the pride and the self-belief from my hard work. I outwork everybody. With modern day gladiators, I don't respect nobody who goes in there and just wants to nick it on points. I want to win in spectacular fashion or go out giving it everything I got.
I am a very hard man to break, mentally, physically, spiritually. I've been through it all. I've seen it all, I've done it all. So it doesn't matter how many traps and pitfalls and, you know, tactics people use to try and derail me.
Ahead of the highly anticipated rematch, Conor Benn isn't holding back and has sent a bold warning to Chris Eubank Jr. Better watch out for a knockout straight to the hospital. The energy heading into the fight night is off the charts, and from his camp, Conor Benn has sent a blunt warning to Chris Eubank Jr., promising to end the rematch with a brutal knockout. Benn claims people are seriously underestimating his power and vows to send Eubank Jr. to the hospital once again, and this time, it'll be even worse than the last fight.
You have to have an element of doubt because doubt fuels the fire. People think I can't do this. What people think he's gonna knock me out? He ain't knocking me out. I could not care less. I'm pinning you to that canvas and having you airlifted to the hospital.
Heading into the fight, Conor Benn is training harder than ever and has warned anyone who thinks he will get knocked out. In his own words, he's not delusional and nobody should think that way. This time he's pushing himself intensely to bring out the best in him. He asserted that this fight will prove everyone wrong who has doubted him and that he's not afraid of Chris Eubank Jr. at all.
Everyone's saying I'm out of my depths here, I'm gonna get knocked out. Am I delusional or are they right? What am I missing? Because I'm looking at him going, yeah, I've fancied my challenges, I'm a fighter. So I don't look at him as no threat. It takes two to tango. And I appreciate him for bringing that fight out in me. I mean, it feels like everything's just written in the stars. I think the power of speaking things into the universe is real. Yeah, I can't lose to him again. It's hard, but it's not my main fuel. It's all game to. Whereas then you got me on the other hand, flip side, which is very emotional, very intense. Conor, this is my life.
Conor Benn has made his point clear, and he does not like Chris Eubank Jr. at all. According to him, Chris is an arrogant fighter living a fake persona. This time he says you can bet any money on it once the bell rings, and they step inside the ring, it will be Conor Benn proudly raising his hand as the winner with a spectacular victory.
Like real bars. Like
he's an idiot. Yeah.
The maddest thing for you. Like, I want to know, is it true that you're like, but I don't like the shoot?
Get him on this pod. See how many words you get out of him.
Oh, okay. Say no. I'm gonna get him on. Right, Chris.
But I promise you now. I would bet you any money you don't get him on it.
What? Chris, you hear that? I'm gonna put this clip out. He said I ain't gonna get you. I believe you're gonna sit down and have a conversation with him, man. I'm just gonna put that out there. So we'll do that. But all right. So no.
Personally, I think he's an idiot. I just don't like him. Do you know what I mean?
What is it about him that you don't like?
He's just arrogant.
Right.
He's just arrogant. Do you know what I mean? Just like his persona. He's just an idiot.
Highlighting a different mindset this time, Conor Benn assured that he's going in with more brains than heart. He promised that none of the mistakes from the first fight will be repeated and that he will fight with more discipline and less emotion. He went on to say that he plans to target Chris Eubank Jr.'s shoulder, despite knowing it will be tough, but with a disciplined approach and turning the fight into a technical showdown, Conor is ready to rock this time around.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be extremely hard for me not to go in and want to take his head off his shoulders. That's going to be hard, yeah, no doubt. But just be more disciplined, man.
Take the emotion out of it.
Take the emotion out of it, which is going to be really hard. Right. But see, I love the challenge
I get you.
Of me having to discipline myself in there.
I get that.
Because I'm always emotional. I'm an emotional guy. But I'm looking at it as a challenge that I've got to overcome. Because if I look at it and go, okay, Conor, you have to discipline your emotions, I can make that as a little mini fight in my head and make sure I'm winning it by being calculated and more disciplined and more technical in my performance. rather than leading with heart and a big pair of cojones.
On the other hand, Chris Eubank Jr. is not sleeping either. He asserted that he's aware of all the traps being set and knows exactly what he needs to do. He also sent a clear warning to Conor Benn, stating that he's a hard man to beat, and not just physically, but emotionally and mentally too. Having been through it all, he knows how to survive. In his own words, he's a survivor who can navigate any challenge thrown his way.
I am a very hard man to break, mentally, physically, spiritually. I've been through it all. I've seen it all. I've done it all. So it doesn't matter how many traps and pitfalls and, you know, tactics people use to try and derail me or to break me. I'm not gonna go. I'm not gonna go quietly. I know all the things that are going on. I can see them.
Chris Eubank Jr. went on to assert that he's a man whose focus can never be broken. He stated that whether it is a $500,000 fine, a rehydration clause, or any other hurdle, he will overcome it no matter what it takes. In his own words, nothing has shaken his focus or direction heading into preparations for this rematch, and he will prove his claims once he steps inside the ring with Conor Benn.
And it's kind of my job as a fighter in boxing and in life to navigate and to avoid and to stay on track. You know, that's what it's all about. Can you focus on the task at hand? You know, are you going to let the $500,000 fine affect you mentally? Are you going to let the rehydration clause affect you? Are you going to let the contract breaches ruin your mindset and, you know, get into your head to the point where you're not focusing on the preparation?
Then comes the insight from his trainer Eubank, who asserted that the thing he likes most about Chris is that when it comes to boxing, he's a real underdog. He stated that this time Chris will easily get the job done because his way of learning and preparing is so focused and methodical. Eubank emphasized that he's training Chris Eubank Jr. to strike with precision and win the fight at any cost. He also praised how Chris has been following his guidance, saying it will surely pave the way for his victory.
One thing about Chris when it comes to boxing is he's definitely got dog in him. Even though he maybe got 2 or 3 losses, he fights to the nail. He fights to the end, tooth and nail, and it's not hard to get him to do anything because it's always yes, coach, yes, coach, yes, coach. You know, going there and get in the day in the gym is wonderful because you ain't got to yell at him or nothing. We just go through what we need to go through, and we get the job done.
Eubank went on to share his thoughts on Chris Eubank Jr.'s preparation, particularly regarding his performance in the last fight. He emphasized that a fighter of Chris's caliber always needs fine-tuning and correcting any mistakes from the first fight, and he is confident Chris has done just that. He also analyzed the results of their previous bout and believes that this time the victory will come even more easily than before.
I'm glad you said that. Just fine-tuning, you know, that's what a fighter of that caliber just needs, fine-tuning, and just trying to fix the mistakes that he made in the first fight before you go into the second fight. And that's the same thing I did the first fight we worked with him. Just fine-tuning, just make sure you don't make the same mistakes over and over. So, you know, you have better results.
Of course, you got the victory against Conor Benn, but what's your overall perspective on the performance as a whole?
Well, I figured that, I mean, yes, he got the victory, but I figured it could be a little bit more of easier fight this time.
Meanwhile, Conor Benn is transforming into beast mode in the gym. He's training harder than ever to prepare for an unforgettable showdown. He's lifting weights and pushing himself to the limit to fuel his hunger for revenge. Each session shows a fighter with a focused mindset and an urgent need to prove his full capabilities when he faces Chris Eubank Jr. His camp echoes that he holds no love for Eubank and that this time he intends to knock him out so badly he ends up back in the hospital once again.
He's just arrogant, right? He's just arrogant. Do you know what I mean? Just like, she's persona.
Reset, rip. Perfect, gone.
Watching Conor Benn at the gym, it's clear he's in another league. Every lift and drill shows a fighter driven by focus and revenge. Whoever steps into the ring with him, especially Chris Eubank Jr., will feel the force of a man determined to make this rematch unforgettable. Speaking on his preparation, Eddie Hearn shared his insights, recognizing that the true effort Conor Benn is putting into training. He expressed his happiness in admitting that Ben looks completely different this time. With the way he's working hard, it's clear that he is ready to win this fight. Eddie Hearn is confident like never before, and he emphasized that this isn't just favoritism or part of the team's hype. Conor Benn's training and preparation this time are genuine, earning him this admission that he is set to take the victory.
I'll tell you something now. I am so confident Conor Benn wins this fight. And listen, you know I always back our guys, and sometimes I can get romanticised by just, being part of the team. Conor Benn looks totally different for this fight.
And it's not just Eddie Hearn. Liam Smith has also backed Conor Benn to win this fight. As a fighter who's already witnessed at what Chris Eubank Jr. brings, he said that even in the first fight, what Conor Benn showed was completely unexpected. This time, anyone who asks him to put his money where his mouth is, he is backing Ben to take the win. He made it clear that while the first fight was exciting, the second will be a total banger, with Conor Benn taking his revenge and claiming a spectacular victory.
First fight was a better fight than I kind of expected. I expected Chris to win the first fight, but I thought Conor performed better than I expected. The rematch, I think Conor Benn, I probably fancy Conor a little bit more than I did the first fight, and I probably, if you ask me now to put my money where my mouth is, I probably think Conor might win this one.
Liam Smith went on to warn Chris Eubank Jr., asserting that Conor Benn will defeat him decisively. According to Smith, Eubank Jr. doesn't have much left in his tank and might be past his prime, while Ben is fresh and looking amazing in training camp. He also noted that although Eubank Jr. has been affected by the weight cut, he has been preparing well, sparring with different partners, but still, Smith made it clear that it will be Conor Benn raising his hand as the victor, not Chris Eubank Jr.
I do think he looks better this time round in camp. I think the sparring partners I've seen pictured with, I think he has took this one a lot more serious than he did take the last one, as in Eubank Jr. But yes, in my opinion, I think he, one fight away from being done. I think as balance as not what it was. And we've seen a lot of that in the first fight. He didn't really look, solid on his feet. I think he was buzzed a few times, but. So, my opinion is I bring Conor Benn to it a lot more this time round because of what I think on Chris Eubank Jr. I think he's only 1 or 2 fights away from being done.
Spencer Olivier weighed in, highlighting how he believes and why he believes Conor Benn will beat Chris Eubank Jr. He pointed out that Eubank Jr. has been fighting at middleweight for the last 10 years and that his energy isn't what it used to be. Olivier emphasized that Benn comes in with the pressure and power of youth, and the damage he did to Eubank Jr. in the first fight shows just how strong his punches are. In his words, with Conor Benn fighting at a younger age and Eubank Jr. facing the struggles he endured in the last fight, it's clear why Benn is being backed to come out on top.
It's the exact same format, and this is at 160 pounds, which is the middleweight limit, and that's the weight that Eubank's been boxing for the last 10 years. He actually used to box at super middleweight and come down to that weight, and I think that was, with Conor Benn, he's always boxed at welterweight. He moved up in weights, but Conor Benn is the fresher of the two. Chris Eubank Jr. is now 36 years of age, and we don't know what effects that had on him in that last one, because we saw the struggles he had to make the weight, the fines he picked up. He was severely dehydrated. He posted videos, didn't he, of the ambulance not being able to get out of this stadium, which he was upset about as well. And you look at all that and you go, what effect will that have on a fighter at 36 years of age?
Olivier assured that Conor Benn will come in fresher, more energetic, younger, and even stronger this time around. He went on to say that the first fight was a real test of Benn's ability, and he proved himself. Speaking about Chris Eubank Jr., Olivier highlighted flaws in his weight, noting that he struggled to make it and that this speaks volumes about the challenges he faced. While Eubank Jr. relied on his discipline and mental toughness, his performance in the first fight fight was at its worst, and that continues to affect him. Conor Benn has strong support this time, which gives him an edge, whereas Eubank Jr. doesn't have the same backing going into this rematch.
That's the unknowns. Conor Benn will come in, he'll come in stronger than he did last time. But it's whether Eubank can rekindle that again, and that's the interest of this contest. But Eubank missed the weight, and missing the weight, guys, let me explain about that. Like when you miss the weight by a couple of ounces or whatever, and you're really tight at the weight, which he clearly is, that can affect the performance massively. And that was Eubank Jr. probably at one of his worst, but he used his mental strength and his discipline to pull himself through it.
Yeah.
But Conor, I think that was his first real test, and he come through it with flying colours. It's another fascinating fight. Conor Benn, a lot of people feel will win this one because he's the fresher of the two. But can Eubank find something from somewhere?
So that is all for today as we broke down everything leading up to the Conor Benn vs. Chris Eubank Jr. rematch. From Ben's beast mode training and revenge mindset to Eubank Jr.'s survival instincts and the insights from their camps and experts. And now we want to hear from you. Who will come out on top when they step inside the ring? Drop your predictions in the comments, share this video with your fight squad, and don't forget to subscribe to Rivalry for all the latest fight news and breakdowns.